Welcome back to Comic Shop Talk on the Late Night Chat Network, everyone. I'm your host, Nico, and joining with me today, as always, my co-host, Chris. How you doing?
Hey, not too bad. How are you?
I'm good. I've been playing a lot of that Silent Hill game in the dark lately.
Hey,
Still trying to beat that. It's a pretty fun game out there for anybody who doesn't know. It's Silent Hill 2. They remade it for the PlayStation. Well, I have it on PS5, so but it's like the one they had back in the day on PS2. And it's been really fun playing that game. Playing it for the first time. I know it has its fans. Chris even was over the other day when we did episode 150. Had to help me with some of those puzzles there that were giving me a
puzzles are brutal.
yeah. Now that I'm kind of getting used to it, it's gotten a little easier, but yeah, it's still a challenging game. But anyways, you're not here to hear us talk about video games. Just figured I'd throw that out there because I literally just stopped playing a moment ago. I've just been really focused on that game lately. It's been a while since that's happened with one, so it's been fun. But this is our weekly comic book review show, of course. And make sure you're subscribed to the channel. You come here every week, hear what me and Chris have to say about the comics that we've read week to week. And we show off some of the art, talk about what happened in the books here for you guys. This week, we're going to be talking about the new comics that came out for the week of October 30th, 2024. This is the fifth week, comic week of this month. Basically the Halloween week here. Not many Halloween books to really speak of this week for whatever reason. I don't know if they planned it out properly because I feel like the weeks leading up to Halloween, we had a lot of those kind of more Halloween type special issues that came out from publishers. So and it is a very small week. So it may be a quicker episode than usual this time around, but you can always come back and check us out here in our playlists and our previous episodes if you want to check them out. And spoiler warning, if you're worried about getting spoiled, you can always come back, as I just mentioned, and check out the episode after you've read your books if you're concerned about that kind of thing. All right, Chris.
All right. Well, let's talk comics.
Talk some comics.
Yeah.
Cheers. All right. First up on the docket here today, we got Wolverine Revenge number 3. I got the red band one here. Yeah, Chris keeping it sealed.
Right in the red band.
Yeah. But yeah, let me bring up the art for this one, which is the non-red band art here that I got available. I'll try to show off a couple of the pages that were different in this one compared to the actual issue that came out. Now, the cool thing I will say about the red band so far, though, with this series, we haven't really been reading all the red bands. I think we only read Blood Hunt and this one so far. There's a few others now, though. This one I would say is worth it. Blood Hunt I didn't find worth it for the red band edition, to be honest with you, but this one has had a couple of interesting scenes that the regular comic has not. But Chris, why don't you go ahead and let us know what you thought about this one?
Yeah, I was looking forward to this series, and I think they could be doing a whole lot more. Yeah. Like Wolverine is just walking through these people. Like these are some heavy hitters that he's going through. Like the way he takes out Omega Red here. It just seemed like a cakewalk for him. He didn't seem to be in any trouble. And then I think afterwards he meets up with Deadpool. They kind of put a little swerve on you. Deadpool sort of asks for some forgiveness, and you think they're gonna team up and go get Colossus, but no such luck. I heard there's like a callback, I guess, the Wolverine Origins, where they're sitting on top of that nuclear silo or whatever that smokestack is. And then he kind of just pulls a fast one. He goes, yeah, I forgive you. Then boom, I don't think so. And he pushes him down into the I guess the nuclear reactor there. So that there was some nice moments between them. And then he meets up with Colossus, and it's some nice writing there. Once again, they had some great moments between Wolverine and Colossus when they're kind of just talking. It's like they're kind of almost engaging as friends there, and then basically they go, so we got to do this, and he's like, yes, we got to do this. And the fight lasts maybe like 2 or 3 panels or something almost. I think he just whops him one time, and basically he's giving a bear hug, and then the fight's over. Maybe I only read the regular version, so maybe the red band would make it more interesting.
No, so I'll show you very quickly the red band page. So this page happens that's on the screen right now when they're on top of the nuclear reactor, and then you get like a full page spread of basically Deadpool like flaming up in the reactor. That isn't in the
regular. You get thumbs up at the end too there, like Terminator style.
No, you see that mess there? That's
yeah,
flaming. So That's the red band page right there. That's what you get basically for your extra money there or whatever.
Yeah.
So you can bear. He's kind of indistinguishable as he's kind of flaming up there, but yeah, that's him falling into the reactor. That's the money shot you get for that part. And I think there's this part with Colossus, I think, is a little bit more bloody in the actual red band part here too. But yeah, like to your point, he goes and fights Colossus right after the Deadpool takes him out. He took 3 people out this issue.
Yeah.
I mean, this is honestly like straight into the point. If you want to know what this series is about, the title basically says it all. It's Wolverine getting revenge on some folks, and there's no other depth to it other than that.
And it's straight up revenge. There's no like sneaking around. He just goes up there, hey you, and I kill you, and that's it.
Yeah, it's pretty straightforward. I mean, listen, it's yeah, I don't know. It kind of feels a little bit phoned in on Hickman's part, if I'm being honest. Seemed like the first issue, maybe there was some more going on there, or even the intro to the second issue, like it seemed like he was setting up some possible interesting other things to have happened in this mini series. But then you get to this one, he takes out basically everybody. And then it seems like next issue is going to be like an epilogue or something, because I think it's only 4 issues, right? Or is this 5? I don't know, but it just seems like I don't know. The way they left things was just like next issue. It seems like they're just going to wrap up and that's it, in and out. Like maybe he just really wanted to work with Greg Capullo. I don't know, but I feel like yeah, it says next piece ? Yeah, this is the. I don't think this page is in the regular one. This is the money shot of Colossus. This is.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think I do think that the red band was pretty good for this, considering like you do get some extra Greg Capullo pages, and I don't feel like they're just like dashed out. Like he actually does, the pages are good where he shows these kills, and then they're pretty bloody. And I mean, I guess that's the whole point of the red band. But I felt like Blood Hunt. Some of them you were like, you literally got the same page and it just looked bloodier. And I'm just like, what the hell is this? Right? Like, give me like, this was like an actual extra panel that was not in a page that was not in the actual issue. Right. This red band. So, yeah, you're not wrong. There's not much to this. I thought it's not bad.
Like with those names, you think you're expecting to get your socks blown off. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's nothing special. It's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. It's okay.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, but it's right. There's not much to it. So I mean, it's a Wolverine comic, I guess, like you could say. Like it's like your most basic revenge Wolverine comic you can get. So I don't know. Capullo art's good. Writing's fine. It's okay. Just not much to it. What did you give this?
I'll give it a 3.75, I think.
I mean, based on what I'm saying, I almost just want to give it a 3.5. Like, you
know, but it is good. Like it's some good characters, some decent art, some good action. But like I said, I just expect more.
Yeah. So I guess I can meet you there on 3.75 out of 5. Next up, we got Batman: The Long Halloween, The Last Halloween #2. Got this variant here.
It's got the A cover here.
At the Klaus Janson, who's the artist on this one, did this variant. There's like a bunch of like variant covers by each artist is doing the issues where it's like their photo from prison, right? So what'd you think of this?
Once again, this is okay. I'm now kind of a little more interested to see what this Jeff Loeb's got to do or what he can write. Now that he's going to be teaming up, I guess, with Jim Lee down the road. But it's a okay comic. It's a decent story, and it keeps my attention, but it's not very memorable so far. Like, it looks like they're taking out a different villain each time, or what's going on, and that's about all I could say.
I mean, Klaus Janson is not as good as Eduardo Rizzo, who did the first issue of art, and unfortunately, even if you're trying to get a bunch of like top tier artists for these issues, having a different artist do each one, you're not going to love everyone the whole way through, when comparing it to, your favorite artist, let's say. And Klaus Janson, great inker. Well, some people would argue that he's a little bit heavy-handed. He kind of definitely, when he inks somebody, his style comes through more in the art than the actual penciler, and I feel like that's been an argument amongst comic fans. And he's also an artist. He does interiors as well, time to time, and I don't mind his stuff that much. I'm a fan, but this wasn't his best hour, I would say. This issue, it was okay, but there's some panels, some wonky looking kind of characters in this book, and at times, and the mystery is very, like, I don't know, the way it's coming together so far. Jeff Loeb is not the best at writing these detective stories. Like, I think that's why some people feel like The Long Halloween is the original one's overrated. I don't know. Just the way that the story's coming together is not great. I feel like there's people that do it much better than he does, and it's okay. It's again, I feel like it's hitting below the level of where I would really want this book to be going. Just like Wolverine Revenge, I think it's subpar and mediocre at times, but I think I'm still in it just to see where this goes for now and to see what other artists draw upcoming issues. But yeah, I really like the first issue, but again, I feel like you get a different artist on this one, and the way things are going so far. I mean, look at the penguin in that panel; it looks terrible. I'm just like, yeah, I don't know. This one kind of gave me pause, where I'm just like, I don't know. If the next couple of issues are like this one, I might jump off. We'll see. But I think it's a 10-issue series, so that's why
That's long too.
Yeah, it's not like it's a 5 or 6 issue one. So, anyways, what would you rate this, Chris?
I just give it 3.5.
Just like Wolverine Revenge, people are supposedly getting taken out quick in this story too. His rogues gallery is getting taken out very quickly so far in these first 2 issues. But I don't know if that's just all a ploy on, like, on Batman. Maybe it's like, they're trying to trick him into thinking these guys are getting taken out and they're all ganging up together. Who knows, right? I've seen crazier things in Batman stories. So, I mean, I guess 3.5, maybe even 3.25. Honestly, I didn't really love the Klaus Janson art on this one. So, all right, Chris, Venom War Zombiotes number 3.
Yeah, I've just been reading this one online, and it's still a fun series. They're all trapped inside, I guess, the bar with no name, and it seems like the zombiote infection has broken through in there, and everybody's sort of getting infected. But for the first time I've seen of these zombiote things, is that there is some sort of cure, because I think sort of when it looks in their darkest hour there, She-Hulk does one of her Hulk claps, and that seems to just scatter the zombiotes off their hosts. And I think Boomerang, is it? I think he was dead in this or something. Has Boomerang died?
He is a zombie, I believe, isn't he?
Yeah, but I mean, previous to this, was he dead or something or no?
Not that
Didn't
I
he die to save, like, because I thought that's one of the stories running through here.
Oh,
Is
that's
the
possible.
Shocker is friends, or we know was a friend of Boomerang, and then Boomerang's gone, and he was upset about that.
Yeah, because he's right there, like he's dead in this scene, right?
Yeah, and then when She-Hulk did her little clap there, it released him of the zombie, but he seemed to be alive after. So they had a nice moment there between Shocker and what's that, and Boomerang. And then I think She-Hulk ends up getting bitten, so she ends up turning, and I think whoever the bartender is at that bar kind of gets them to realize that Shocker has those Shocker gloves, and there's some sort of, forget who the other bad guy is there, but he can tinker with technology, and I guess he improves it. I think they turn on a base to scare it out, and then I think they overpower the Shocker's gloves, and he kind of zaps everybody out there. So it was a good story. I like the characters. Nothing wrong with this at all. I give it a 3.75.
Yeah, I feel like I missed the boat on this one because I really like the art and the story looked like it was a lot of fun. The little 3-issue miniseries. If I see the issues out there in the wild, I might actually pick them up because it looks like it'd be something I'd enjoy.
Yeah.
And then Spawn 358, Chris.
Yep, Spawn 358. once again, I'm sort of in and out of this all the time, so I have no idea what's going on every time it happens. But you can't go wrong with the art in here. That just smashes it all the time. It's a Brent Booth. He's killing it. I think Spawn's here trying to rescue. I forget what the name is. I don't know, one of the other hybrid demons there, and they're trying to suck the blood out of her to create some sort of virus to kill all the angels and demons. And then whoever the big bad is at the end, he's kind of just keeping Spawn alive as long as Spawn is killing the demons or the angels or whoever. That's his goal there at the end. So it was a quick read, but great panels. It's just like an episode of freaking Dragon Ball. It's just quick stuff, and if a comic could have what Marvel and DC do, a little recap in the beginning, I think that kind of help with the story that's kind of been going on here. But great art. You can't, this is the whole series, just based on having hot artists.
Yeah,
and I give this 3.75.
Okay, cool. Next up, we got Namor number 4 from Jason Aaron, and were the artists on here Alex Linz and Paul Davidson, 2 different artists for, I guess, the different timelines. And honestly, like, I don't know if many people are reading this book, yourself included, Chris. This is a really good comic. This is actually, each time this comes out, I'm a little bit more pleased with it. I honestly really like this comic. I think he's doing a really good job of this story, Jason Aaron. And I think he's very quietly been doing a lot of great work again after, like, I felt like he overstayed his welcome when he was doing the Avengers, and he used to be one of my favorite comic writers. And then he kind of did the Avengers for too long, and then he wasn't really working on any other new books. And so he kind of fell off the radar in terms of, like, stuff I was reading for a while there. And I think this has been a good year for him between, like, Batman Offworld and, like, Namor, and he's doing Ninja Turtles now. He's very quietly been writing a lot of really good comics again, and kind of reminded me why he was one of my favorite writers for a long time. My favorite writer for a long time when I got back into comics. Anyways, every issue he's kind of been meeting up with, like, one of these other people in the sea that wants to basically contest the fact that they want to become king of Atlantis. And because now the throne is open and taken away from him, and so everyone else is fighting for the same piece of pie or whatever, and they're all basically just fighting for the title at this point, like trying to become king of Atlantis. And Namor is kind of systematically meeting up with them and kind of trying to suss out the people that are going to be not a good ruler, and also, like, they have issues with them. A lot of the times they end up fighting him in each issue when he's meeting up with these people. And they have a lot, they really kind of delves into each character that he's been coming across, and their place within, like, their kingdom, and then they relate back characteristic of Namor from his past to kind of how he is now, and how he learned, like, a valuable lesson each time to how to become basically a good ruler and a good king, and kind of the way he is. Well, the reason why the way he is, and really interesting artwork, really great fun fighting sequences each issue. Great dialogue, just really well written. I'm having a lot of fun with this book. I think it's very enjoyable as a character study for Namor. I think it's really good. He's a great character. I just feel like that just shows up as a, like shows up in Fantastic Four or other things now and then. And having an actual, like, story where he is the main focus, and it's like an 8-issue series. It's pretty good. I'm going to probably pick up the collection of this when it comes out. I've really been enjoying this. And I don't even know if I showed off my cover there, but if I did not, I got this variant. Yeah, it's good stuff. I can, no complaints. I would give this a 4.25 this week. I thought it was excellent. And again, I don't know who's all reading this. I don't hear anybody talking about this book. If this is something that's gone under your radar, I definitely suggest checking this out. It's way better than I thought it was going to be. And, I've always liked Namor as a character, but I'm like, yeah, we'll try this out. I mainly just got this because of my love for Jason Aaron, but I think he's hitting it out of the park with this one. So next up, we got It Happened on Hyde Street Devour #1. I guess this is one horror book that came out this week that I guess I can talk about. This is a spinoff, like, one shot I guess they're going to be doing like one-shot stories, almost like like the creep shows, like things like that, where they do like these singular kind of stories in the world of. Although I think this is pretty quick that they put this out. They literally have only had one issue of Hyde Street so far from Ghost Machine through Image, and already they're doing this one shot of it happened on Hyde Street, Devour. Like that's the name of this story, Devour. And it sounds like they might have plans for other ones too. So I mean, it's an interesting way to bring different creators in to do one shot horror stories. But at the same time, it's just like, I don't know how much gas they have in the tank for this whole idea of this Hyde Street and how it's going to expand into all these weird things happening in these side stories that are not happening within the main book, which I think is a smart idea. But like, wait until the first arc of the book maybe wraps up before you start to do that. This seems odd that this had already come out, where I feel like we talked about Hyde Street a month ago, or I did whenever I read it. So anyways, it was okay. The artist wasn't that great, I gotta say. I think this is almost like a creative tryout book. I'm not really familiar with the creators on this one shot. Maybe I'm wrong by saying like maybe they're not names familiar to me, but I just thought the art was not great for me anyways. And basically the story is this girl who's overweight, she goes inside of like a health food store, and the woman's like, hey, I can I help you? And she's like, oh no, I don't even know why I came in here. I was just trying to kill some time. I'm good. And she's like, no, I can see it in your eyes. You would like to be beautiful and looked at differently, and you want to lose weight. And she's like, yeah, I guess you're right. And she's like, okay, I got what you need here. And she gives her this bottle that says Devour on it. And she takes it home, and obviously she looks demented. Like, I don't know why you would take anything from this woman. she's like, yeah, I got what you need here. And she's like, oh, sure. Sounds good. So, like, this is the page where she gives it to her. And, not subtle at all. So she gives it to her. And then later on, she goes home, and she sees, like, her niece or something like that. And she's trying to get the cookies. It's either a granddaughter or her niece, and she tries to get the cookies from the top shelf, and she's like, oh, why do you put these all the way up there? It's like, oh, so you don't eat them all and become fat like me or whatever. And she's like, you don't want to become that person. So she puts the cookies back, and she's like, okay, yeah, no problem, I won't touch them. Meanwhile, she goes and opens this Devour bottle later on that night, and she looks in, she gasps, and then it cuts scenes. And then you're in the future now, and you're following the little girl that was trying to grab the cookies there out of the cupboard. She's now older. She's getting married, and she's trying to fit her wedding dress on, and the wedding dress doesn't fit because she's a little bit overweight. And they're like, oh, no, this won't do, this dress. And meanwhile, her mother, her grandmother are there. Like, basically the woman from the start of the story is there, but now she's like she's thin as hell. And the two people are like kind of looking skeletal. That's how thin they are sitting on the chair there. So, you would think that stuff worked essentially. And then as the story goes on, the girl, self-conscious about her image now, and to be able to fit her wedding dress in time for the wedding, even though she's on the diet, she offers up this Devour stuff to her. It obviously backfires, this stuff. You see like the bad parts of it, how they just consume a shitload of food all the time. They kind of binge out these people. And then, you find out inside of this Devour bottle is basically like a huge worm. Like there's this huge worm that sits in their stomach that eats the food, and that
like a parasite or something in there.
Exactly. It's like a tapeworm or something. I don't know. It's like a parasite. Yeah. So there's like these creatures that come out of them essentially. I feel like this story's been done before. I don't think this was original. It was fine for what it was, but for me, it was the Hyde Street series itself. The first issue seemed more promising and interesting than this kind of one-shot side story thing that they did here. So I don't know. Maybe there's room for other good stories down the road, but this was just whatever for me. I give this a 3 out of 5. I didn't love it all too much. And then you got Magic Order 5 number 2 that came out this week, continuing Mark Millar's mini series here. Basically in this issue, if you remember the end of the last issue, Chris, she got attacked, and basically they've now did something to her head where she thinks that she's not herself. Like this, she's a normal person who wakes up in the hospital, And there's a psychiatrist here telling her that she's dreamed up all these things about her being like this woman who has magic, and she comes from a magic family, and that she's crazy, and now she's like, this is her reality now, and that she's been imagining this stuff all this whole time. Meanwhile, you find out that's not the case. Obviously, they're just screwing with her head. They've put some spell over her, and she's captive somewhere. Someone comes to save her in this and basically gets her out of that situation. So they don't dwell on that as an idea for like the entire miniseries. It's kind of done within this issue. It gets resolved, the setup of the thing that happened to her at the end of the last issue, which I thought was really good, because let's not spend too much time on that. And they got her out of this trap. They took down these people, and then they found out the motivation behind the bad guys that are after her and her family for this miniseries. It's kind of how every miniseries goes for these magic orders. And basically the whole entertaining part about it is to see how they figure out how to take out this next set of people who threatens their family each miniseries. I mean, Mark Millar tries to come up with a clever way of how they take them down each time. And that's kind of the result of every of these miniseries. I give this a 3.75 out of 5. Enjoyable. I really like these series. I think Magic Order is one of the best things he's written in terms of his like Miller World stuff. And I'm interested to see where this goes. And then finally, you got Poison Ivy, Swamp Thing, Feral Trees, number 1. Chris, I thought you were going to join me in reading this one. I guess you didn't get around to it.
I just missed out on this one.
It was okay. I mean, I haven't been reading Poison Ivy. I know you've kind of read a bunch of the Poison Ivy series. This is by G. Willow Wilson, who writes that series. I think this is a one-shot. I don't think this is a mini series, right? I think this is a one-shot.
From what I hear, it's just a one-shot. Like, I don't know why they just can't throw this into her ongoing series. But anyways, go on. Sorry.
No, it's all right. It was an interesting one-shot. It was oversized. So, yeah, that's why I think it kind of resolves within this issue. So, yeah, I'm pretty sure that's the case. Mike Perkins is the artist for this one, who's a really good artist who came on to do this story. And yeah, it's just the most interesting story part about this is because obviously, these two people are are related in the sense that they have, power within the green. And in this, she shows up, there's like a disturbance in the green somewhere, and then she sees Swamp Thing. They end up meeting up. And then there's another person that they run into that is also part of the green, who doesn't really look or treat Poison Ivy as the same as he does Swamp Thing, or one of their own, as he puts it, essentially. And then Poison Ivy's like, oh, why would you not consider me like kind of an equal? And he's just like, yeah, well, you got 1 foot in, 1 foot out type of deal. Like, you live with the humans, you love humanity, like you're not fully in it like me and Swamp Thing and these people are. And that was kind of the most interesting thing about this story, was basically just the way that she's looked at. And because she actually cares for humanity, she's with Harley. She wants the world to basically live on, and she wants to protect it, even though she's tried to end it a bunch of times. She brings up the Swamp Thing in this. She's like, I've tried to like kill, like I've tried to take over like a few times before, right? Like, and he's just like, yeah, but at the end of the day, you're one of them. You're among them. You basically, you're not with us here, and you don't care for our the problems that we deal with as part of like the being part of the earth and stuff like that. So I never really thought of it that way. So I thought that was an interesting kind of thing to explore. Let's say how she's looked at upon by like other people within the green and stuff like that. Other than that, it was like a kind of an interesting one and done where, like I said, something's going wrong with the green, and they kind of get to the bottom of it. They solve it. And by the end of it, they kind of go their separate ways. So yeah, just it was a good one shot with decent art, interesting story. And I'll give it a 3.75 out of 5. Not bad. If you're a big Swamp Thing fan, I think it's worth checking out. Even if you're a big, obviously, Poison Ivy fan, if you've been reading the main series, I don't know why you wouldn't pick this up. But like Chris said, I don't know why they couldn't just do this within the pages of the main series. It's by the same writer, so I think it's something you should definitely check out if you've been reading Poison Ivy. So for me, it was more about Swamp Thing. So, and yeah, finally, Kea 22. Sorry, guys, a bunch of stuff only I read here this week. Not much to say about this. This was just a chase issue. The good guys getting chased by the bad guys. Good thriller kind of issue. They're in hot they're getting, the bad guys in hot pursuit of them, trying to catch up to them, get Kea and her brother and their new companion here that's been trying to help them out. that Kea doesn't really trust still. And yeah, this is just like a kind of like an action-packed kind of, issue where they're just being chased the whole time. And Wes Craig does a good job, but light on story, but good on art, good art as always, an interesting, fun time. I guess 3.5 out of 5 this week, just because it was a little light on story out of like what normally is in the pages of Kea, but still fun book and still reading it month to month. Good stuff. All right, Chris, Nightclub 2, number 3.
Another comic I missed the boat on. This has been a great series altogether.
Yeah.
And and it's just going in such an unexpected direction. After the first 4 issues of Nightclub, I thought it was a decent story. They kind of, they fight some big bad at the end and everything's good. But this is more like a ground level story. And whatever that, I forget who the vampire that just kind of went on his own. And, he's kind of dating the hot girl, and then you find out how it turned out. And she was just using him, after he kind of confesses to her that, that he's a vampire, and she kind of convinces him to bite her. And then before he knows it, she's already gone in and bit all the jocks, and they are just getting their teeth into him. And I can't believe they freaking off him in this. I imagine he's done. He's like,
yeah, it doesn't look good.
yeah, I don't know what kind of powers they have, but he looks like he's finished. And now they're going after the other 2 Nightclub members, and they're in a tough spot. I think they went to their little home base and it's been trashed, and oof, we'll see how it goes. This has been a very good miniseries for these guys.
Yeah, I'm with you. I thought the first miniseries was fine. We enjoyed it, but it wasn't anything too crazy. Then even with the first issue of the second miniseries, it was, again, it was just continuing the story along, all good. And then with that last issue, they really turned it up a notch, and this story has kind of gone and taken a turn into a more interesting direction now. And especially with the results of what happened here to their friend, and where they stand now with the rest of these vampires who basically are just vampiric bullies now that exist in their life. And
people got a handle on these powers. Like, I don't know how they turned that one guy into bats and then they reconstituted him on top of that pipe or something.
Well, it's interesting because they also figured it out that they were the ones that were vampires prior to this point. So they had a lot of time to even like look into, I guess, vampires and like how they work, and even like how to, like you said, wield their powers and how to basically plan their attack. So they really caught them with their pants down, these guys, because they've been playing the long game in this story. So much so, as we've seen last issue and is mentioned in this one, that other guy was letting his girlfriend bang this guy just so like she could like pull the wool over his eyes long enough for him to be like, aha, we planned all this. We're vampires now. We tricked
him. And you think like there's a moment there where, maybe she really did like him and she just freaking closes that door hard.
That's how stupid this guy is. In this issue, he keeps trying to talk to her. He's like, oh, come on. Like, and she's like, no, you idiot. Like, I'm not interested in you. I never was interested in you. Like, he keeps thinking that there's something there and that she's going to convince her. And then she's like, no, like, we were like fooling you this whole time. You're a loser. Like, what I mean? I'm just, this is brutal.
You believe it right to the end.
Yeah, it's brutal. It's brutal. So, like, I don't know. That guy has not had an easy go of it. If you remember, he almost died during Big Game as well. Like, I don't know. Like, all those guys, the Nightclub people got taken out. First, he loses the love of his life, that girl who's their friend, to his other friend. And then, then I
think that he's okay. He's he's gone maybe a little more on the dark side, but he seems to be doing well. Everything's going his way. He just gets that rug pulled right out from under him.
Yeah, it sucks. Anyways, what'd you give this?
I got to give this a 4.25. Easily.
I'll go 4 on this. I'm really enjoying this series, though. It's really good. It's actually, it might be my favorite Mark Millar miniseries going on right now, because there's a few going on right now at the same time. I think this might be my favorite one, because I'm not liking Nemesis as much. This one, I remember we talking about that. Magic Order has been good, but this has been way more enjoyable so far. I'm reading Prodigy. That one's just okay. Yeah, I think this is the best. Jupiter's Legacy just started. That was just the one issue so far. Yeah, this is probably the best one he's got coming out right now, I would say. Good stuff. Yeah, I just realized that he's got like 5 coming out at the same time right now. That's crazy.
Busy over there. He's putting Dark Horse on the map.
Yeah, he is. All right, and then finally we got Amazing Spider-Man 60 this week with this great Adam Hughes cover here this week. Yeah.
We can spend 10 minutes just talking about the cover. But I love Spider-Man in the back there peeking through the window and he's got his spider sense going. That's hilarious. I love that cover. That's a great cover.
Yeah.
And then, this is the end of the Zeb Wells run. I don't know what John Romita's doing here, but I thought his art was freaking pretty decent in his little story here, considering it was all most of the stuff that he's not really been strong on lately. This was all just them sitting in the courtroom, just crazy stuff. On the story, whatever, however it goes. The judge seems to throw out the case against Tombstone, and then Tombstone and Spider-Man or Peter Parker kind of have some words, and then whatever. Then he kind of tells, hey, Peter, I can't believe Tombstone hasn't figured out that Peter Parker is Spider-Man. Like when you kind of beat the crap out of someone, then Peter Parker shows up and, I just hit this guy in the face a whole bunch. Yeah. But anyways, and I kind of liked how that story rolled out, where he goes, oh, you tell Spider-Man he won. I got to the judge, so they kind of explained it. Okay, and then who did the art for this? This wasn't the Ed McGuinness, was it?
No, this is Romita still too. This Sandman stuff looks great that he did in this. I like this a lot. I think this is still.
That was up with Aunt May, right?
No, this is still the main story that they do.
I don't even remember what Sandman was doing there then.
Well, Sandman shows up and then he meets up.
Oh, no, okay. I thought this was a separate story with Aunt May kind of figuring out, Peter has to run out to help, and that was a nice little story there. Like, actually, now I'm glad that it wasn't part of an extra story, but that story has been kind of been said before, and I guess every once in a while, every time there's some sort of milestone book, they always kind of throw that story in there, so that's okay. And who cares about this stuff with White Rabbit? But I thought it was a decent ending to his run. And if we want to talk about that whole run in particular, whatever, from 1 to 60 here, I heard there's a lot of hate about it. I know there's a lot to hate about it, but it wasn't so bad, Like, there's some good stuff through there. I liked, in the beginning when that kind of mystery was going on, I thought that was pretty decent. I had some nice issues with that McGuinness art in there. And when Spider-Man went off the rails, he went off the rails twice, and I loved each time he did it.
Yeah, this was a very celebrated book on our parts as on the show here. Like when we started doing Comic Shop Talk 3 years ago, I think they were in the middle of the Beyond era stuff that happened, where it's like 3 or 4 different creators were doing the title at that time. And then the Beyond, this was after Nick Spencer. They did the Beyond era of Spider-Man, which led into Zeb Wells, who was one of the writers on that Beyond era. And like the first year of us doing this show, we absolutely loved this book. And so, yeah, I want, at least for us, like, I don't want us to forget, or like people to forget out there, like this was a really good book. And even towards the end here in this last arc, it had some good moments as well. Like the problem is I felt like the second half of the run was not nearly as good. Like after, I would say, what was that event?
Dark Web?
Yes. After Dark Web, yeah. I think it really got not great for a while there. And
that gang war was brutal.
Yeah, I think honestly, like mostly everything up to Dark Web, including Dark Web, I thought was really good. I will
know that stuff with whatever the death of Miss Marvel. That I didn't even know why that was here, but
no, like, listen, there was spots or issues where we were just like, yeah, it wasn't that great, even within that first period, but majority of it we really enjoyed, and I love Dark Web. I thought Dark Web was a lot of fun if you kind of really leaned into.
I think we're in the minority on that though.
Yeah, but like again, I just feel like he got Spider-Man, like there were some good character moments with Spider-Man, like Peter Parker and Spider-Man, and there was also some great art. And also there was like some really goofy 90s-esque type of stuff that he was leaning into. If you could have fun with it, I think it was a lot of fun. That being said, like, is this going to be a run that people talk about 10 years from now? I don't know. I don't think so. But like, I think there were some really great moments of across 60 issues. I don't think he overstayed his welcome. I think that for the most part, he kept it interesting, at least entertaining.
If anything, this last arc is, because this wasn't even supposed to happen from what I understand.
No.
And I think this was one of the better arcs of the run here.
I would say this is one of the better things that happened after that period. Like I said, like there was a lot of good stuff here in this. Those last couple of issues where you had Tombstone, that fight.
If he ended this before this run, I think it would have looked even worse on him. Let's say
absolutely at the end of that last arc with the Craven and Hallows Eve and all everybody that was in that, whatever that was terrible. I didn't really like that arc. I mean, listen, it wasn't like ever that bad that I was like, I'm dropping this, but we also really like Spider-Man, and I will say this, it was entertaining throughout, at least, to say the least. I was mostly always entertained, but for the first half of the run was better than this. I don't know. Overall, what would you give the run? Would you give a rating to the run? That's the problem here.
Yeah. For the run, I know he did some bad things too, like that. Yeah. But now that bad thing is so bad, it's almost good now with Paul. And I hope somebody like I said, I think I spoke about this before. I hope someone comes in there and can kind of have a good opportunity to make a very fan-friendly decision if they so allow it.
I'm going to go 3.75 on the run out of 5 because I want to give it that 4 for majority of the stuff that we really enjoyed. I can probably get there with a 4, but there is some stuff that bogged it down. Like you said, it was pretty inconsistent at times. So yeah, I could probably get there with a 4 out of 5, but once you're veering into 4 territory, that's like a really good run as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I'd give 3.75 too. Yeah,
I'm going to give it just short of that. Yeah, but again, that first everything up to Dark Web, we pretty much really enjoyed. And like you said, even though we're in the minority of enjoying Dark Web, that's the sweet spot of this run. So I feel like if you were to check anything out, check out some of the earlier trade paperbacks if you or the issues. And if you like that, maybe worth checking out the rest. But I feel like, the last bit of this run definitely not as good. So yeah, there was a couple arcs there that were straight up really bad. And then once, depending on how you feel about certain choices that they made with Mary Jane, and as Chris said, Paul, that stuff is that's not gonna sit right with you as well. And you gotta remember too, those are things that those were ideas he had at the start of his run, because we saw that play out at the start of his run. He teased this thing that happened between Mary Jane and him, and for like 15 issues, we didn't even find out what happened, and we didn't care because we were just having fun with the book. And then once they revealed it, we're like, okay, well, that's stupid. And then they introduced Paul, and then I feel that was the start of
that was the beginning of the end there.
That was the beginning.
What do you think about the backup stories in this here? Yeah, some other stories.
Yeah, let's get into it here. Here's the first one. This is fun, of course. This is Red Crab, right? This is Ed McGuinness coming back, and I love Zeb Wells' note at the end where he's like, "Well, you guys got to use him now. Too bad." He's still out there. He's like, this character still exists. That was like a fun three-page or a short story that they did with Zeb Wells and Ed McGuinness.
That's okay. I don't mind this Rock character. He's a good-looking character, that's for sure.
Right. No, absolutely.
Yeah, I think his web wagging, like that's one of those jokes there that grow on you, like the power dog.
That's right.
Like how he mispronounced or he misstates all the cliches.
No, this Chris
Spider-Man is described as.
Chris, this one was web wiping. He said in this one, he's like, and Spider-Man's like web wiping. Like, what the fuck? Yeah, that is one of those power dog jokes for sure. But he's like, the web wanging rec rap is here to stay. And then in the previous page, he said web wiping at one point. And the best is that little bubble at the end where the doctor's like, yeah, you'll be like $3,000 or something like that. And he's like, what? That was fun. I did like this little send off the rec rap. Again, depending where you stand with this, a lot of people hate this character. I'm just saying, I enjoy it. I enjoy it. Although there was that one issue where it was just him. We were like, that sucked. Remember that?
Yeah, they got to use him very sparingly. Like he's got to be kind of brought in at the right time.
So that was fun. Then they had this one. Oh yeah. This is the one where they meet up with their significant others, and Mary Jane's like, hey, I'm glad that we could do this now.
Well, there was just the one line in there, or the 3 panels where, like, out of the blue, she just goes, hey, thanks for coming and saving me. And what, it took you till the end of this to say that to him? Come on.
Otherwise, like, I thought the conversations between these two and the situations that they're in now, like, she even made reference to the fact, like, yeah, we're gonna go there and like make up a story about why we're late. You did it to me all the time. Like, that stuff's not all that bad. It's just, I just hate the position that they're in right now. Like, I don't mind that he's dating people and she's not with them, whatever. That's happened before. But like you said, just the fact that now she has powers and that she's with that Paul guy and he's like the person in her ear, like, it's really weird. I don't.
But I still think they're teasing a get together with these two. Like,
yeah, they're still in each other's lives and they still care for each other. And if anything, they finally understand one another because of the superhero thing. Because that was the one aspect that Mary Jane could never get with.
Yeah.
It just happened way too fast. It was just like, oh yeah, she's got powers now because of dark web or whatever. And I was like, what? Like, or no, because they went back in time or remember whatever happened there with Paul and her. Anyways, it's so stupid. So that was fine.
I did like this story too a little bit.
Yeah.
I didn't hate it.
I didn't hate it either, but it just reminded me of the stuff that we just talked about that we didn't like about this story, but about the overall kind of status quo of things. But the story itself was fine. Yeah, I agree. Then there's a Wolverine meets up with Spider-Man once a year to go to the bar.
They go along with Spider-Man and Wolverine. Where's Sabretooth? Doesn't Sabretooth always try to kill Wolverine on his birthday too?
That's right.
Wolverine's got a lot of business to do on his birthday. Spider-Man's always meeting up with him. Right. And can't they let Peter Parker have a beer? What's he in the bar having a glass of milk or something? Come on.
He makes a joke about. They make a joke about it. Yeah, he doesn't. He doesn't drink. He never has. It tracks.
You can have a beer. Come on, buddy. Relax.
I agree. But I mean, that Wolverine's the one to drink. But the fact that he actually still down to meet with him on his birthday once a year, even though Wolverine, I love that relationship too. Those two have like the relationship where he acts like he doesn't like him and finds him annoying, but yeah, he's a friend of his.
Yeah, but he shows up all the time every year on his birthday so they can hang out and have a little chit chat.
Okay. This story I didn't really like, the chasm story. Where do you stand on this one? This was like when he meets Peter and then he acts like he doesn't care anymore. And then
it was almost good until they freaking, I was like, okay, it's about time, they get that chasm straight. And, he's been kind of portrayed almost, I don't want to say heroic in that curse of chasm, but, they can kind of just let this story go, okay? I know why they're trying to push this chasm character so hard. He's a good-looking, a good-looking character, but it's just not working, You can kind of let him go off and be on his own world, and that's the end of it. But at the end of it, he goes, "Oh, I told him 3 fibbers today."
Yeah,
come on, serious.
I thought that was so lame. Where he's like,
the
whole dinner, he's like, "You were right, Peter. I was trying to take your life. Anyways, I got other stuff going on now."
Yeah, and he does have other stuff going on. He should freaking live his life.
So, but then you see him like inner monologuing, like. He's like, little does he know I am still gonna take like, come on, man, move on already. Like, what is this?
Yeah, you cut the last page or the last 2 pages out of this story, and it would have been a decent story.
But yeah, it was okay. And then this one, which is setting up the many deaths of Spider-Man story. I think at the end with the Doom stuff. Is this the Doom one?
Yeah.
What this was, I don't know what's going on here. I was very confused.
Yeah, I don't know either.
It's I know what of some sort.
I know what they got planned for this 8 Deaths of Spider-Man. If they do it right, I think it could be great. But I'm not jazzed for it, and I'm hoping I get pleasantly surprised. Let's say.
Yeah. So.
Did you read Captain America? Is that this week or was that last week?
It was. I didn't read it. No. Do you want to talk about it?
It's a good one.
Okay.
I just reminded because I thought this Captain America story was involved here.
No,
but
because
it's Captain America, Thor, and Spider-Man, and it's a good story. Whatever Peter Parker. I think you see one scene with him And he's got on his phone. He goes, oh, maybe I should call up Cap. Maybe just hang out with him. And he's about to send the message or something, or about to make the call, and he bails. Like, goes, oh, Captain America doesn't want to talk to me. And then it goes to Captain America, and he's kind of just sitting at home or whatever. And I think some landlord or somebody from his whatever building he lives in comes to talk to him. And I believe the person knows that he's Captain America. And he goes, you should really, be able to talk to people about this stuff. And then Captain America goes, yeah, that's a good idea. I should really try and, reach out. He goes, I'm a lonely guy here. I need some friends. He goes, all my friends are, the Avengers, but they're not really friends. They're more like workmates. And then he makes the call to Peter Parker to just hang out and have dinner or something, and then, Peter Parker, he's over the moon about this. And then I think when they're about to make plans, Thor shows up. And I forget what's going on. It's about that city that Thor destroyed or something, or the hammer destroyed. Is it what, Broxton or Roxtown or something? I don't know. And then whatever. Captain America's gonna go, hey Peter, I got to take a rain check on this. He's all upset, but hey, we got this mystery. If you want to, if you want to come in on this, and he comes in, and it was a good story, and I think I'm getting the next one because it has one of those Capcom covers, and it should be a decent run. If you get a chance to read that story, it's good.
I'll check it out. Yeah, I'll check it out because I think they're coming to the end of the run now. So maybe
I think after this story, that's it. It's over.
Yeah, so maybe that's why I guess he's just doing some
single. And it was a good Captain America comic, where there's no demons, none of this baloney stuff going on. They're trying to go back to that town, and I guess they figured out that something was there might be some magic at play or something like that.
Okay, yeah, I'll check it out because I was really enjoying that title until all that demon stuff started happening, and then I dropped it. Right, so yeah, I'll check it out. Okay, rating on Amazing Spider-Man 60. This issue though, we gave the run 3.75, and I think I'm going to throw out the same rating for this issue. To be honest with you, I think it was a good anthology and good short stories. They were all decent, but I think as a whole though, it was just fine for me. I don't think it it hit above 4 for me on this one. What'd you think?
Well, with that cover.
Oh, well, the cover.
And how I enjoyed the stories, even like with JR, with John Romita Jr. there. I think he knocked it out of the park here for whatever reason. He's trying on this last issue. This reading that, it reminds me how, because he was the artist in Kick-Ass and all that stuff. I remember seeing some of those issues there. It's like, oh, fuck, JR's doing that. I don't even know if I want to buy this stuff, I've seen it in dollar bins, but I might look into it. It looks like, he can do some good stuff, which I haven't seen very much of previous to this, the last 2 issues.
Yeah.
And the other stories, I didn't mind them either. I'm gonna give this a solid 4.
Okay, there you go. Yeah,
I can go with my 3 Grail covers. Well, the 2 of the Grails I have.
That's true. Yeah,
it's right in there.
I can get there with a 4 almost as well, but I'll stick with my 3.75. Just like the run, it just barely scratching the 4, 3.95.
Yeah.
All right. So and what do you want to throw out a rating for Cap? What do you think of Cap?
The Cap, that's 3.75. A 4 compared to the Captain Americas I've read before. You know what I mean? Like it's been so bad. It was nice to see a good comic there.
Right. Okay. Well, that's going to do it for the books we want to talk about that came out this week. Bit of a smaller week, but that way, we were able to kind of talk about them. We've not rushed through as much here, and even really get into all the short stories in that last issue of Spider-Man or our thoughts on the run. So you know what, it was actually came out on a good week for us to talk about that a little bit more in depth. Chris, what are you reading next week? What are you looking forward to?
Okay, so for next week was that November 6th, Ultimate 6. Looking forward to that. X-Men 7. See how that goes. I'll probably read Avengers 20. I don't know. I think I've got that on my pull list coming up from the near future. Aliens versus Avengers. Looking forward to that. I might have to reread the first one just to get back into that zone.
Very much looking forward to that.
X Factor 4. Been enjoying that actually. I was telling you earlier. After that X Factor 3, I had a couple issues on my comic shop just sitting on the rack, so I picked X Factor 1 and 2 up. So that one's one that's been growing on me. X-Force 5, I'll probably read it, but who cares? Venom War 4. think I might even be pulling this one, but yeah, definitely going to read that. Spider-Man or Venom War Spider-Man 4. Looking forward to that. I saw a preview. That's looking good. And I think that's it for for Marvel. What do we got out in DC? I'll probably read Action Comics. I might read Poison Ivy, Absolute Superman.
Yeah.
I saw the preview for that. A lot of the stuff that's happening in I guess Krypton or whatever before he left. I don't know. I'm starting to smell a freaking pattern here with Absolute Batman, Absolute Superman, and Absolute Wonder Woman. They might be paying these by numbers, but we'll see how it goes. And what, Plastic Man No More? That's been a crazy one. I think that's it for DC. And let's see, what do we got in Image? Anything in Image coming up? I should have Scorched. I think Sacrificers 12.
Yeah.
I'm going to try and read Savage Dragon. I should start picking that up. That's been good lately.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, definitely read that. And I think that's it. What about you? What do you got going on?
Yeah, it's a lot of good releases next week. I mean, as you mentioned, the aforementioned Jason Aaron, I was talking about this episode. He's on Absolute Superman #1. I'm looking forward to it. But yeah, Aliens versus Avengers #2, definitely looking forward to that. The first issue was great. Batman 155, Birds of Prey 15. JSA #1 starts next week by Jeff Lemire, which I'm really looking forward to. I don't know why that's starting before the new Justice League book, but okay. I mean, I'll take it. I'm looking forward to that one, but I feel like they really should have brought out the Justice League book by Mark Waid prior to the JSA one. I know there's been a lot going on with JSA, but seems weird in terms of the pacing of like the all in just happened and everything else. I feel like that one should have came first, but I don't know. Anyways, JSA #1. Plastic Man No More #3, as you mentioned, that's been great. Sacrificers 12, Ultimate 6, that's been very good lately too. X Factor 4, which we just mentioned, we've been really enjoying, and unfortunately X-Men 7, which hasn't been hitting the mark as much as we've been wanting it to lately, but that comes out next week. But yeah, then some things digitally, like you mentioned, Venom War and Venom War Spider-Man. I'll definitely read those digitally. I'm just trying to take a look at what else we got here digitally, which I'll mention here. No, nothing really there. Definitely those Venom books. No, I don't think there's anything else from DC. Image.
Well, I think Rogues Gallery is coming out too next week.
Rogues Gallery.
Nemesis.
Oh, yeah, definitely gonna read that. Yeah, I read that for sure. Yeah, I forgot what the name of that one was for a second. Yeah, Nemesis for sure. I'll read that. If that comes out. I don't see it here. Oh, that comes out for Dark Horse, not Image anymore. Okay, yeah, so definitely gonna be checking that out. Sacrificers. Did I not mention that? Yeah, the Sacrificers I'm gonna read. And anything else from Marvel? I think that's it. I think it's just the Venom Avengers and the Venom War stuff. And yeah, I think that's it. So yeah, decent sized week again. Some really good stuff I'm really looking forward to. And yeah, that's next week. All right. Chris, your favorite book of the week.
I hate it when it's one I don't buy, but it's got to be Nightclub.
Yeah, I figured. Yeah, that's probably my runner-up this week, but I'm actually going to go with not a tough week, honestly, in terms of like there's not much to choose from that I feel like is worthy of it. Nightclub 2 would be my runner-up this time around. I'm going to give it to Namor #4 this week. Really good stuff. I honestly pleasantly surprised by this series, and I think this might be the second issue I might have given my favorite of the week to. So yeah, I'm depending what happens with Superman next week, our year-end awards is coming up. I don't know, Jason Aaron might kind of sneak in there somewhere on one of these categories. He's been doing yeah, I know he's not going to be for you, but I'm talking for myself here, Chris. But actually, yeah, I should be sending you those categories soon, though. It takes some time to put that together, so maybe we should start looking into things sooner than later. All right, well, that's gonna do it for this episode, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. As always, make sure you like and subscribe. Thank you to Chris. Have a good week out there, everybody, and we'll see you next time. Later.
All right, cheers.